Hello, and thank you so much for being here with us today. You are watching the Intervene Show, and I am Arlena T. I'm going to let each of my guests introduce themselves and exactly what it is they are doing for our cities and our community. And we're going to get into a very important topic and discussion. This is one of those shows that I recommend that mothers, sisters, daughters, family come together, sit down, because we're going to talk about some very important things that may be able to save you, save someone that you know, or you may be able to help someone to save themselves. So without missing out on this wonderful opportunity to introduce my guests, I'm going to start to my immediate right with my good friend, and we can kind of go around the table.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Clarke-Kinsey, and I work with Damsel in Defense. Damsel's a relatively new company, and its mission is to equip, empower, and educate others to be safe. So I've brought some things to show you later that will help keep you safe at home, at school, on the road, and will help you teach your kids to be safe.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Mark Kinsey. I'm Jen's husband. I'm basically her technical support, general labor, help her out at shows, all around donkey.
You're her groupie.
Yeah, and her groupie too.
Yeah. He makes a mean commercial. He's the creeper.
Yeah, I get to be the creeper in demonstration.
We'll explain what that means
Yeah.
in just a few minutes.
I'm Tama Cathers. My husband and I have the Empowerment Center, and we teach martial arts. I teach yoga. We teach seminars for self-defense and women's sexual assault prevention, as well as other seminars and speaking engagements.
So, and I'm David Sink, and with my wife Tama, we co-own the Empowerment Center. As she said, we teach To-Shin Do-Ninja martial arts, which is a comprehensive self-protection system. And so we go beyond kicking and punching to how can we protect the whole person throughout the scope of our lives, not just in physical confrontation, but beyond, into the workplace and at school, at home, understanding how we operate and how others operate. We can interact with that. It's about relationship.
For everybody that's here today, this is a very important show for me because my very dear friend, Karen Hargrove's sister, recently was a victim of domestic violence. And often, I believe that people see domestic violence and they're in the hospital or they're injured and they come home. For Claudine Hargrove, that was not her story. She was attacked and was killed because of a domestic violence attack. And so I want people to be aware of sometimes you don't just get to have another day. There is not always a tomorrow promised. Sometimes it's not that this person is just playing or they were just upset for the moment. Sometimes it can be this is real. And for the Hargrove family, this is real. Claudine has left behind 2 children, a sister, a mother, father, a brother. But the biggest point is she's left 2 children, and she's left her family too soon, too early. And so as we're going to talk about ways to protect ourselves and some tools that are going to be available that we can be able to protect ourselves if we are ever in a dangerous situation or if we are ever attacked. This is Claudine and her daughter and her son. Throughout the show, you will be seeing pictures of the family. Please know that this is real. Probably one of the most realest shows that I have done because this is her obituary. And this is one of the hardest things that I've experienced because it was so horrific. I won't get into the details because there is an open case because as you see, this has just recently happened a few weeks ago. And the guests that are here were already scheduled to be here on my show. But I just felt like it's very appropriate that we look at the fact that this is really real. And I do not want anyone else to be a victim. If we can help it, I would like for the next person to be able to get out, to take help, to be able to leave and know that there is support available and resources that are available to help someone to save themselves, because it's not worth staying when you are in an abusive relationship. Jennifer, I'm going to kind of let you start in on some of the things that we see on the table, because I'm pretty sure everybody's wondering, what are all these things on the table? Can you kind of tell us a little bit more of what it is that you do and how your services are able to help our community, and kind of talk about the safety for women?
Sure. 1 in 3 women is affected by domestic assault. 3 or 4 college students are affected. And so it's important that we can protect ourselves, or be confident that we can protect ourselves should the need arise, no matter where we are. So I have here two different canisters of pepper spray. This type of pepper spray is police grade. It shoots out 16 feet, and it leaves a UV dye on the attacker. So they can still be identified up to 7 days after the assault takes place. It's ghost pepper, so it does some damage. This is a personal alarm, has a flashlight in it as well, but these are great for kids' backpacks. And this alarm goes off at 120 decibels, so it will be heard. This is a striking tool. It fits ergonomically in your hand like this, and you just strike soft tissue.
Can you do that one more time for the camera?
Oh, there we go.
Can you show it? It's pretty, by the way. It's a pretty color.
And it comes in a variety of colors. We have pink, teal, lime green, purple. This is also a striking tool. It's a pen, and both ends of it are for striking. This end is serrated, so it will extract DNA from your attacker. There's also a flashlight in here. And it is a pen, so I understand it will go through airport security. Now, when you're on the road, we have several things to that'll help in your hotel room. This is a door alarm. You can put it under the door, and when it's triggered, it will go off. Or you can attach it to a sliding glass door. This is great for dorm rooms. Now, when you're on the road, we have this road tool. It busts out the window. It'll cut your seat belt here. It has an alarm in it, a beacon, and a flashlight. It has a magnet, so you can affix it to the top of your car, and rescuers can find you. This is called Junk in the Trunk, and it's everything you would ever want if you're stuck on the road. Since it's Michigan, we have the ice scraper, first aid kit, hypothermia blankets, raincoats. There's a screwdriver, a compass. There's jumper cables back here. So, you know, this is really great if you're on the road. This is actually a defense tool. It's a whistle alarm that will blow at 130 decibels. Now, we also have a series of books and toys and puzzles for educating young young kids about safe boundaries and things like internet porn, grooming, bullying, inappropriate behavior by another, like maybe an older boy, a girl. So we have these books, and each one of these toys gives back to a charity that raises or rescues kids from sex trafficking. The rest of the items here, like this RFID wallet and all the other tools here, a percentage of the profits of everything sold it goes to help national and local charities that advocate for women. And Damsel in Defense has also adopted safe houses around the world, which rescues women that have been in the sex trafficking. So it's a great company. There's a lot of give back involved, and I'm proud to be associated with it.
Jennifer, why did you decide to get involved? You can have a seat if you want to get comfortable. Why did you decide to get involved with helping women in this way?
Well, I'm recently retired, and I used to work with college students, and I've heard the stories. In fact, I was a victim myself in college, and I just wanted to do something that would give back to the community. I've been blessed with a lot of great people in my life who have helped me along the way, and I just wanted to do my part to give back.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your products. And then, Tama, could you please talk about kind of how you all are kind of coming together with not only having tools, but if there is not a tool around and it's just you, can you kind of explain, and then we can kind of all, because you can all explain more to the community why you're kind of here together.
David and I are teachers of To-Shin Do martial arts. Mark and Jen are our students. It's been such a pleasure to have them as our students. And in the last several years, I've become more and more interested in self-defense and women's self-defense and sexual assault prevention. And those are really two different things, and yet they come together, and that's how the four of us come together as a group with our individual interests still in the same area.
Bill, could we look at some of the slides that you brought us so that the community can see and you can explain what it is and what makes To-Shin Do different from martial arts or karate? You can explain kind of why and what it does, and you can jump in by any moment.
Well, as I said earlier, it's about being in relationship. So we use what we call the 5 elemental theory. Sometimes we feel solid and stable and grounded inside, and sometimes we feel free and ready to move around and let that person go where they need to go, and sometimes we feel like, whoa, I need to create some space, I need a little time to think, and other times we can jump right in and just do it. We don't even have to think. And each of those responses plays out against a specific type of attack. So if this person is coming in and taking all of your space, what you might naturally feel is, whoa, I want to create space. So we have a strategy and ways to move that allow that to happen, allow that to manifest naturally. And sometimes this person is trying to shake us around and move us off of our center, and we have strategies for grounding and getting solid and stable and responses for that. And so each one balances each other out and provides a natural response. We all have those qualities within us.
And the clips that we have are going to demonstrate some of our martial arts techniques, which is usable from day one, some protective moves, and it will also demonstrate some just purely self-defense kind of things. And so we have both in the video clips.
How long have you been in the business, the class, and why did you kind of get started with this?
I started training actually when I was 13 years old, so I've been doing this for over 35 years. When I was 15, I was jumped and assaulted by 5 other kids about my age. And I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time and encountered the wrong people. But what hit me was the fact that there are people in the world that will hurt you because they think that they can. And I decided that was never going to happen again. And that moment transformed my life. And at this time, I'm really grateful for them because I wasn't physically hurt very badly. I had some bruises, but because of that experience, I've had some wonderful experiences that I've never had. I got to train with the first American student of the Grandmaster of the Ninja and consider him to be my friend, and I got to be a protector of the Dalai Lama. So I've had all these wonderful experiences that I would have never had I not had that one awful experience. That's how I got started.
For me, I was working with a woman who was taking martial arts, and she put a flyer up for a women's self-defense course. And I thought I should have done this long ago. And I went to the course, and I found it so fascinating, not just from a self-defense standpoint or a martial arts standpoint, but from a perspective, a lens to put on the world, and a way to look at myself, how I act, and compared to how other people act. And it just was very interesting. So I continued as long as it remained engaging, and it's been 12 years and I haven't stopped. In the last couple of years, I've really come to realize that self-defense is different than martial arts, and they both offer us really great gifts, but they're slightly different.
So I think a lot, I'm sorry, I just want to add one more thing. I think a lot of it comes in your approach to what you're doing. We teach martial arts. You can take that martial art and use it in self-defense. That has as much to do with your mindset as what's being taught, more to do with your mindset.
I actually started, well, when Jen and I started dating a little over 5 years ago, she was already taking classes from Tama. And she asked me one day if I'd like to do it too. And I had taken karate and a little bit of judo in college, and I enjoyed it. And I thought at the time it would be a fun thing to do together, and good exercise. But then once I started doing it, I realized that it was a lot more than that. It does enter into everyday life. Our code of mindful action that we have, I've used different parts of that during different events in my life, different things I've had to go through.
Can you explain that to the 99% of us
The
that
code of
don't
mindful
know?
action. Actually, you would be better for that.
So we have a student creed.
Okay.
It has to do with believing in yourself, believing in your teachers, and believing in what you study. And then we have a 14-point code of mindful action that starts out, I protect life and health. I avoid violence whenever possible. I respect the space and property of all. I avoid taking what has not been offered. I develop significant relationships. I avoid abusing others for selfish gains. And it goes through all the way through to I strive to be so strong that nothing can disturb my peace of mind. And I work to build love, happiness, and loyalty among all the members of my family. I avoid putting temporary personal benefit ahead of the welfare of those I love. And there's 14 of these points. And at different times, different ones will resonate as you go through. And for each level up to black belt, you learn a different, an additional code of mindful action.
So they're just a good set of ethics that fit any person, regardless of spirituality or religion. And they help us.
Yeah.
They help us become better people.
Yeah.
And they also make us look at ourselves, I think, and
Mhm.
take a good hard look at our behaviors or our mindsets or things like that. I started martial arts just because one day I was sitting home alone in my apartment and I thought, well, I can do anything I want to do. What do I want to do? And I said, martial arts and ballroom dancing. So I did them both. And
That's actually how we got together, was ballroom dancing.
yeah, and then we did martial arts, so, okay, worked out. But, no, I really enjoy it because it's not something I'm good at, but I keep doing it because I feel like it's something that is such a good thing that I want to be good at it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to learn it, and there's a very kind of intellectual component to it, and I would like to be able to make that mind-body connection between what I'm learning about academically and what I can put into practice. So, yes, it's a challenge, and it makes me feel good when I do it, you know?
So from there, I think we'll go into our first slide, and then you can kind of explain to us what is it that we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Bill, can we please see one of those?
Here I'm gonna, grab Mark's wrist and try to punch him in the face. And at the level that Mark's working at, Mark and Jen are at, it's we call it level 3, and he's working on this wind element. So I'm trying to grab him, pin him down, and then he just is free enough to move out of the way and utilize my energy to make me go head over heels. Hey, you're coming
This
with
is
me.
a typical hair grab, and it's one of the basic defenses that we can start off teaching this day one in class. It's very typical that a woman will get grabbed by their ponytail, and it's fairly simple, straightforward. You get stabilized, you make sure that's not hurting you anymore, you strike your attacker, you push them off.
Hey, you're coming with me.
Stop it!
Yeah, and this is one of our level 1 techniques, so that you learn this, among others, in your first 3 months of training.
Hey, back off.
Where are you going?
You're invading my space.
No,
Back
you're
off.
gonna come with me.
Back off.
No, you're coming
Back
with me.
off.
This is
Back off.
from a woman's self-defense standpoint. It's a way to protect yourself from an attacker using your voice, your body, your signals, and then actually going to the ground in a position that it's very hard for an attacker to approach you without getting kicked a lot.
Okay.
Very basic, simple. A
Hey,
lot of it is
back off.
spirit driven.
Where are you
You're invading my space.
No,
Back
you're
off.
gonna come with me.
What are you saying right
No, you're
here?
coming with me.
I'm saying stay back, you're in my space.
Back off.
Get away from me. Back off, back off.
Back off. Back off.
In this one, I've gotten choked and there's a knife against me, and that's a terrible situation. And there are actually some defenses against that. You'll see a number of defenses in these 10 video clips where there's a choke or a grab from behind, and they can be adequately responded to.
Stop. Stop.
So in this clip, I'm using a level 1 technique to defend against this knife attack. And next one is actually a more advanced version. So that would be like a black belt version of that level 1 technique. And then this is actually where, at the level that I'm working at, where you don't even have to deal with the knife at all. That's not a problem anymore. So I'm striking the arm in the face, kicking to the groin, and shoving him back. And then this one, I'm moving out of the way and going right to his face as the hit, and still covering that arm so that he can't cut me. And then the last one, I'm just moving to just the right place where I can take his balance and take them to the ground.
But you have your hands open.
Yeah, I don't have to hit them. In fact, in our classes, most of the time when we do teach striking, it's with an open palm. I was an ER nurse for 14 years, and I can't count the number of people that had broken this fifth metacarpal because they punched something hard, like a wall or somebody's head, and it's called a boxing fracture. And this striking surface is very hard. And
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's all right.
Okay. So we'll come back to that.
Don't you walk away from me.
Oh, these, we really were turning up the energy by having the person, by simulating an argument, having the person turn away, grab their arm, spin them around, and then try to hit them.
And we hadn't rehearsed this at all. These are them doing what we have taught them to do in the moment, without any forethought,
Oh, okay.
under pressure.
Okay.
So when Valentine was back away and did this,
No, you're trying to take it
Throw.
easy. Don't you walk away from me.
Mark just ducked under my arm and locked it out and pulled me down onto my back.
You're the one with
And
the
do you
problem.
remember anything about this?
No,
Very
you're
little.
trying to take it easy.
I got done and I was like, what can I do?
That is a technique we teach. I don't think we actually taught it to Mark yet. Here Jen's getting grabbed from behind.
She's struggling, but she's successful and she succeeds.
Wow.
Back up! Back
That's
up!
one of my favorite clips.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a great job.
and
You get that, oh, holy cow,
'Cause
what am I
really
supposed
did-
to do?
I really had her around the throat.
yeah, and in our training, it's very cooperative.
Back up! Back
But the
up!
cooperation is that the attacker is going to do a good attack so that the defender can do a good defense. A half of an attack is not worth defending against. So we make sure that the attacks are realistic,
Back
no
up!
matter how
Back
fast or
up!
slow
Back
you
up!
go.
Easy. Easy.
And in this one, she's getting grabbed and he's getting ready to hit her, and she just moves out of the way, smacks him in the face, and
Falls
takes him
down.
backwards with very little effort on her part to do that.
It was so satisfying.
Easy.
As you can see, he's moving in to hit her, and so when her hand and his face meet, it really creates an impact.
It did too.
This is a wonderful place where we can make a safe community and container to help each other learn and grow. And we do that by allowing ourselves to fail. And speaking to what Jen was talking about, there are parts of this that I'm really miserable at. And I'm fortunate that I don't have many of those things in my life. But here's a place where I can fail over and over and over again until I succeed, because that's how we create success, is finding a safe way to fail so that we can learn and grow. And that allows us to be this supportive community.
I think beforehand you were mentioning kind of why the open palm was important.
Yes, I think it's open for several reasons. One, just nonverbal communication.
Okay.
If we were in conflict and I put my hands up, I said, "Stop it! Just stop it!" Then you're getting my verbal message, but you're also getting this nonverbal message. You're putting your stop signs up.
And I'm getting it as an observer who might report to the police later that he was trying to stop the conflict.
Right,
Okay.
because if we're in conflict and I go, "Stop it, stop it," this is a whole different message that you're getting than if I do this.
Okay.
This is also so much safer for me as the defender to punch with than a fist.
Okay.
It's just, I'm not going to break anything.
And it's still really hard.
It's really effective.
Yeah.
I remember years ago, I was taught that if someone is attacking you, scream fire instead of help, because everybody will come out to see what's on fire. And that was something that I even, taught my daughter, other children, that, if you are being attacked, to scream fire, 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 because people are going to run. But help can almost be kind of considered like that people can not pay attention to help, or they see it and they might ignore it or think, oh, it's okay. Those two are always fighting. Though, and I think kind of even going back into the situation is I think that we often, people can think they always are fighting. They're always in arguments. They're always, you know, and people can start to not realize when someone really needs help because they've cried wolf, or this is not the first time where they think they'll go back to them again anyways. Why get involved?
Yeah, bystander engagement is a problem. How do we get bystanders involved? So, yeah, by yelling fire, you're much more likely to get somebody involved, because I don't want to get involved in a fight and somebody's conflict. So what can we do to do that? By yelling stop it, at least people are going to look and see, why are they yelling stop it? You know, maybe it's a dog, maybe it's, you know, something else, but how can we get that attention? And using your voice is such a big tool for doing that.
Teaching ourselves that we're worth defending, that's part of it as well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big difference between self-defense and martial arts, is that spirit-building value of understanding that I'm worth protecting, that I'm going to protect myself no matter what happens.
And using your voice to do so is a very powerful tool in just building that spirit so women are willing to protect themselves. Once they are willing to use their voice, then their whole demeanor and their abilities change. So yelling stop it for us is the tool that we choose. Bystanders may or may not help, whether we yell fire or stop it, but being able to really believe that you're worth defending and start with your voice and your posture is a great place that I wish it was a gift I could give to all the women in the world.
And yelling stop it too, it forces you to breathe. Because like the first thing that happens when you're surprised is you kind of, you know, stop breathing. Well then you can't react, you know. But if you yell stop it, it creates an energy and you're getting oxygen to your cells, and so you can react better.
It makes your response more powerful too. If you yell as you're striking or whatever you're doing, it makes you more powerful.
3 times, seemingly, wouldn't you
Oh
say?
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any advice that you would give for someone to kind of know that, because you were talking about boundaries, safety, because at some point in time, you all are happily married. So finding someone that will truly love you, treat you well is important. And there is a difference between what you guys, ladies and gentlemen, are doing to support each other with your martial arts compared to someone who is in a relationship that may not be safe for them. And like I said, tomorrow may not be available for the next person.
Yeah.
I think we've been doing some work ourselves around trust and agreements. And if you're with somebody or in relationship with somebody that you can't trust or that can't keep an agreement, then you really need to explore that. And if they're not willing to explore that, then maybe they're not the person for you. Whatever that is, if I say I'm going to do the dishes and I don't do the dishes, and I broke my agreement, and that means she can't trust me to some degree. So we need to discuss why that happened, and if I'm not willing to discuss that, then that's another break in trust from my perspective. And that you can play out in all of your relationships. You can ask that, do I trust this person? And to what level do I trust them?
I think it's a really hard thing to get out of a difficult relationship, because we know that it's not good and it's not safe, but the little voice gets buried under the big voice that says just a little longer, just until school's out, just until something else. There are some really great resources for looking at relationships and personalities and what abuse is, and they still shock me when I read them and I say, oh yeah, that one, and this one, and this one, and this one in that relationship. That one, and this one, and this one. It's really a growth process to learn what respect is, and what honoring is, and what being a person who does what they say is about.
I think the integrity of it, and one of the things that I've learned through my martial art training is that I have lots of options. For me, growing up, because of how I was raised, violence was not an option. So actually through martial art training, I learned that it could be an option for me if it had to be. And yet at the same time, I was learning all of these other options about how I position myself, how I'm speaking to that other person. I can de-escalate the situation based just on how I'm standing and the words that come out of my mouth that I choose to use. I can make it worse or I can make it better with one word, with the tone that I use, with how I position my body. I can be here or I can be here, and that little thing of moving my fingers makes all the difference in the world. So I have choices, and they look small, and yet they can have this huge effect on what's happening to myself and what's happening around me.
So finding those choices when you're in a relationship that you think might be abusive, reaching out and continuing to just seek help. It's really hard to ask for help, and it's hard to keep asking for help. That's so important that we just ask until we find the answers that we need.
I was having a conversation, and I'll put her information on here as well. It's Cartavia O'Connor, and she has a nonprofit organization. It's called Hands for Hugs, Hope and Healing, and her information will be shown as well. And I'm not saying this is for every lady who's in an abusive relationship or situation. This was just in conversation, was an economic piece. That often I believe that women are kind of staying where they are in these situations because women are financially, economically disadvantaged. Not in every case, but often because the gentleman tends to be the financial head, the breadwinner, and the decision maker, and often women don't have a lot of resources to be able to start over. If they have children, or even if they're by themselves, to be able to say, you know what, I'm leaving, I'm gonna go get an apartment, bye.
Right.
Where often a gentleman will be able to say, if I need to, I can sleep in a car, I got a toothbrush, and he can survive for a while like that. As ladies, we don't really feel comfortable with such meek resources. And I don't know if there are a lot of resources that are available to help women to get out. We have the YWCA where you can go and get housing and different things like that, but that tends to be where we look at it where it's a financial poverty situation, where we look at middle market women financially are often in these situations. There are women who are in high earning families who are often in these situations, and they sometimes can't get out. And I'm not saying that everybody at the YWCA is in poverty, but it tends to be that you have to lose everything that you have to start at ground zero to build up. And I don't see any resources in our area where there is a banking system or a loan system or a grant system that can say, you want to get out of this situation? Well, here's this, and here's you an opportunity to get started, because some women have education, some have work skills, some are fully capable of being independent, but they can't leave and cut their resources down. I'm in finance. Women retire with 57% less than men on average. So now you're removing that on your day-to-day. You have women who will be living off of maybe $1,000, $2,000 or less a month to try to start first month security deposit, furniture, groceries, a bed, and if you have children. So for those reasons, a lot of times people stay and they take the verbal abuse, they take the emotional abuse, they take being cheated on, they take being beat on, because they are afraid of being homeless or impoverished because they left this person. So there's not a lot of resources out. Hands for Hugs, Hope and Healing is trying to be able to create something where women can be able to get a start. You were mentioning some of your nonprofit, and I would like for you to kind of talk about that more again, because it does help women to be able to, and I'm not saying men aren't the same, but a man can also go to labor ready at 5 in the morning and can at least be able to pay for a hotel for the night, you know, if he wants to. ladies, we often don't have that resources where we can go out and work on a roof all day, pay the, to be able to have a safe place to stay for a day. And like I said, men can live with just a toothbrush, and it almost can be okay for a couple weeks if you need be.
And if they have children, it makes it so much harder.
Yes, it does.
Well, and, as a woman wouldn't be safe living in her car, or a guy would be, but, I mean, I would think, as a woman, I would be terrified living in my car. I wouldn't be able to sleep.
One of the other tools that abusers use to prevent women from leaving is also the fear of retaliation. That alone sets up a situation where they're afraid of protecting themselves because it could potentially put them in danger to do that.
It seems harsh, but the decision could be life or death. Like you get out, or you don't get to get out.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to very often. You are in a situation where you have no resources. You don't have the $1,000 to live on because you've been part of a family unit.
Yeah.
But somehow you need to find a friend or an old relative or a bus ticket, something, because sometimes the choice is get out or you don't get to get out.
As we see, and we can reference Claudine in her pictures and her family again, please, Bill, because as we're talking about this, it's so real to me. Claudine and her 2 children, she did not have the next day. It was a choice that we all wish that she would have made to leave, to have gotten out. What we're seeing here is her memorial. This was the day that she was found out that she had been murdered. And so the church came together and they did a memorial for the family. You can't really see all the pictures, but then there's Karen and Claudine when they were little. This is Claudine. And so I think that the memorial that the church did for them was beautiful, but I wish it was a birthday party instead. Actually, this was around Claudine's birthday when this had happened, so these are her and the children, and a mother is now gone, and a sister is gone, and these 2 young babies will have to grow up with the memories of their mother, but not because someone else made the choice that she's not here today. Her mother, and this is Claudine and her mother. There is the picture of the rainbow that you see in our background. This rainbow was special because when I spoke to Karen, she said, Claudine, let us see the rainbow. God blessed us that when we were on our way to drop her daughter off to school, after this whole situation, babies still go back to school, that this rainbow was there. She said it wasn't even a rainy day, so God will send rainbows. He did it with Noah, and here he is showing himself again, being faithful, that he shows us the rainbow when the family with so much hurt to send that peace and that rainbow out the blue. So this is a real rainbow for a real situation and a real reason. So I want to make sure that everybody see why this rainbow has been in our background the entire time. And to Karen, this is Claudine's obituary. And as you see, this is this year, very recent. You see her waking up and her going home and going to bed are very similar in dates. And so like you were saying, as far as sometimes you just have to go. Sometimes the money doesn't matter. You can start over. It's worth going to let someone help you, to go to a friend, a relative, a neighbor next door. Is worth going to get help, because I don't want another family to have that for their daughter, sister, mother, cousin, aunt, relative, because of domestic violence or sexual assaults. And also that is what Hands for Hug, Hope and Healing provides: counseling and information, resources for women who have experienced sexual assault or are feeling like, or in sex trafficking, to be able to find resources to try to get help as well. but there is help. We have tools here. We have emotions and protection that we can use to help defend ourselves if we ever are feeling that someone has violated our space, or we feel threatened or in danger.
I think one of the great things that Tama has to offer through this elemental sexual assault prevention course is that most assaults happen between people that know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And what most like women's self-defense programs don't incorporate is that you know this person. This is a relative,
Yeah.
this is a coworker, it's somebody that you would consider a friend or a classmate. You have to interact with this person day in and day out. And how can you deal with that situation in a way that you can still get through your life? That you're not just destroying that part of your life, which could be a big part where you end up losing your job, or how can you deal with the situation in a way that diffuses it? And the elemental program is really strong in that area, that we're not looking at stranger attack.
Mm-hmm.
Not only, they do stranger and intimate partners and verbal skills for those intimate partner or known person relationships.
If you want to add anything to it.
No, I think Tama and David have said it all beautifully.
Mm-hmm. You have, with your nonprofit, you have a secondary nonprofit as well that is.
Yeah.
Can you kind of talk about some of the resources that's also doing for the community? You're just out here helping the world, aren't you? Where's your cake at? This is an aspiration for you.
I have recently started doing I'm working with One Hope Wine, which is a company that was started with 8 friends who wanted to give back to the world and make it a better place. And so what it is wine tasting for fundraising. So each wine that you would taste at a tasting gives back to a specific global or national charity. For instance, Chardonnay gives back to clinical trials for cancer research. Pinot Noir gives back to animal adoptions, I believe. Sauvignon Blanc gives back to like planting trees. So each wine varietal has a give back built in, and then the host of the party can select a nonprofit that will receive 10% of the party sales. So like I had a wine tasting at my home to give back to the Kalamazoo Animal Shelter, but it's a great way to have fun, and you mix and mingle, but you make an impact too, and it's a great company.
Would you like to add to it?
Well, I really just helped her out. And once again, I made the hors d'oeuvres for the party.
He makes a great
Antipasto plate.
yes. Mm-hmm.
But no, she's really the one that has jumped into this. I haven't had the opportunity to retire yet, so I still have to work. But so yeah, I help her out, and it's been fun to see her. After many years in her different jobs she's never had this. She never had that thing that made it special. So with these, now that she's retired, she gets to do things that matter, and I've enjoyed watching her enjoy that. and they're meaningful to her.
And with your organization, you donate a free service as well to let people, for the first time.
Right, we have certain promotions, and the first class is free. You can come in and learn something, take a 45-minute class with us. We teach at Be Well Studios. The website lists our times, and we also have, you do the promotions because you memorize them.
Oh.
October is?
Well, October is Bring a Buddy month, so if you brought a friend, you'd only pay for one. It's basically a 2-for-1. We certainly are willing to come to businesses, organizations, and talk with them about programs that would be appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
We also do meditation, stress reduction. Tama teaches yoga.
And we have several different self-defense programs, from a 1-hour seminar that Jen and I do together to teaching where people come as students, 2 hours, 4 hours, and 6 hours. So we have those as hireable opportunities. And I think it would be really great to get nonprofit funding for that.
What are your goals? What would you like to do? You know, what do you see was next for yourselves, for your businesses?
I'd like to reach more people, to be able to touch those lives, because I know that we're giving them an opportunity to learn about themselves and the world and to grow. And just like when you turn on a light bulb, you don't just light up the light bulb, you light up the surrounding area, and that causes other lights to light up. You know, because they see, you know, somebody's going to see that video of Jennifer defending herself against that choke from behind, and they're going to say, I think I could do that. Mm-hmm. You know, that's one of the best things about what I get to do as an instructor is I get to share that capacity, and Jen gets to shine. And she said she wanted to be a rock star at what we call decision making. And she's getting there, because that demo she did where I grabbed her arm and tried to hit her was not choreographed. It was not planned. And she really shone. She got out of the way, she didn't get hit, and I ended up on the ground. Mm-hmm. That was fantastic, and she was ready to get herself out of there.
I would love to give all women the empowerment to know that they're worth protecting, and some clue about the ability, even just using their voice, yelling, putting their hands up, and a few simple things. I would love that to be part of what I could give the world. The other side of it is, I think that there's a real need to learn mindfulness, to be able to settle yourself, to learn self-soothing, to learn some skills that allow people from children to old age to be successful, because they can move through life in a way that is functional.
And one thing about us, we started this in our 50s.
Mm-hmm.
So you can start anytime. You can learn this with disabilities. It's not something that you're locked into having to do certain things. Everyone has to be able to defend themselves, even if they have one arm or one leg, or whatever the disability is or the challenge is. You can still learn how to do it, or some way of protecting yourself.
And that protection may come with clients at work, or bosses, or relationships. So it's multifunctional.
Mm-hmm.
And as this martial art, you don't have to be faster or stronger. I have worked with somebody with one leg, several people actually, a woman with one lung, and they're still able to learn in advance, get black belts, and move on in their lives.
In fact, one of the challenges I have faced, I still work on, is that in this art, really being strong and using your strength isn't the best way. It's actually being in the right place, the right position, the right technique, that you really don't have to exert yourself. And that's when you're doing it the best. And always get low. Sorry.
Yes.
Bend your knees.
Low.
Bend your knees, keep your back straight.
And with you working in the education and with college women, is there anything that you would like to say to them or any advice, because you kind of have worked with young ladies in an institution? Can there something that you can tell them if they feel or need help or resources that you know of that will be best for them?
Well, I would certainly raise the alarm.
Okay.
You know, of course, go to administration, go to, you know, the health center, go to the counseling center. Take advantage of all those, you know, opportunities that the college offers, but also have some skills to protect yourself, you know, because what the college offers is for after the assault's taken place.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, be informed, be aware. Don't go out by yourself, you know, at night, walk home, you know. Call college security, carry pepper spray, you know. The good thing about pepper spray is that your attacker can be 16 feet away, so they don't have to be up in your face, you know, so.
Or the threat of it will maybe keep them 16 feet away.
Yeah.
Awareness is another thing that we've talked a lot about, especially in the self-defense classes. Just knowing who's around you, not looking at your phone as you're walking through the parking lot. Just things about, be aware of your surroundings if you're in a place that you could be vulnerable.
Like when you get in your car, you know, say you're at, you know, the mall or whatever, and you don't feel comfortable, you know, get store security to walk you out, or, you know, you get in your car, the first thing you do is lock the doors, you know. Then you start the ignition and put on your seatbelt and drive away to safety. You know, don't sit in your car, and I think women are guilty of this quite often, as you sit in your car and, you know, you check your phone, you look at the list, make sure you got everything at the store, and, you know, just get in, lock the doors, and drive away to a place of safety before you do any of that stuff.
Do all that stuff in the store.
Yeah.
One of the other things too is, and I thought about it yesterday, is having your keys in hand before you get out your car for your house key, so you're not having to fumble in the bottom of the lagoon of our purses.
Right.
To follow, you know, in the bottom of our purses, to already have your keys out, because also your keys can be a weapon if need be, if there is somebody who is looking and lurking.
Yeah, keys, the faster you can get in your car is a better prevention. It's actually been shown that attackers keys aren't a threat to them, but your ability to get to your car, paying attention, you already have them in your hand, so you're not looking for them, and then get in, and then lock your door as soon as you get your bottom in the seat. We actually do a drill where in one of our self-defense classes where we do just that exercise. We give you a bag with a bunch of stuff, and you have to find the tennis ball and put it in the bowl that's on the table across. And it's just a game to represent getting your keys in your hand. The end result is it's a collaborative effort, and there's a creeper, somebody who acts as a stalker that comes up and tries to touch the person, and their job is to put the ball in the bowl, and eventually everybody figures out, well, before I even leave, I can have the ball in my hand, and I can be looking, and oh, there's the trouble. So I'm gonna keep my eye on the trouble, and okay, now it's in.
And my addition would be listen to the little voice inside, because there's that little voice and we oftentimes ignore it, and that's one of those things that will really save us. You know, that guy was at the bar, I'm just feeling not comfortable. Okay, get a friend to walk you out.
Yeah.
And one thing about my pepper sprays is they have, like, this one here has a clip, so you could hook it to your belt, or I have one that fits into a glove in the palm of your hand, like if you're a jogger or something. They also will attach to, I have like a little small lanyard, it's called a breakaway, that will attach the pepper spray to the outside of your purse. You know, because like you said, it doesn't do any good if you're like, hold on, attacker, while you're, you know, rooting through all the things in your purse. So.
Kind of handy.
Keeps it right there.
Well, we're gonna get ready to end, and I would like to thank you all for being here. Are there any last thoughts or remarks? And with that being said, you can all say any shout outs to anyone, and then I can close out the show.
Well, I would like to speak really briefly and maybe get just a few comments on how it is to train with a partner. It's really a relationship building skill, and it's been really wonderful. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a very different community to be in.
It is, because you really have to, in a sense, make yourself vulnerable, you know, because you're in somebody's space and they're in yours. You know, you don't just like get that close to, you know, other people.
We actually have
you know.
developed this like thing where at the end of class we all hug each other. I mean, we've just been throwing each other around. It's kind of nice to have.
And punching at each other.
Yeah.
And we
Punching
joke
each other.
about that. Well, I'm going to hit you. No, you're not. You're right, I'm not. So.
Yeah, I think it's a great community to be a part of. The greater, we are an affiliate organization of the Greater Quest network of martial arts schools and training groups around the world, founded by Stephen Hayes. And it's just been a wonderful experience, a great ride to be on. And I'm grateful to have my wife and partner to share it with. It gives us a common language from which we can communicate from.
And we have one more thing we can learn together. We're learning
right.
all.
Yeah, we like to learn stuff.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you.
And I would like for, I would like to say to Karen that I'm so sorry for your loss. To the children, I'm so sorry for your loss. To Mother, I'm so sorry for your loss. And to anybody else whose family who is going through this tragic experience as well, of losing a loved one due to domestic violence or sexual assault or murder for any reasons. So sorry that you are having to go through this. You are going to be in my prayers, and I pray that what was learned today can save a life, or that we never have to use it. That the resources are available, that you can contact to get help. Please contact Hands for Hugs, Hope and Healing with Cartavia. Please contact each of my guests for their services. If you need to get tools, if you need to be able to protect yourself. So I pray that these can be used, but not to be used.
Yes.
I ask if we could all please have a moment of silence for Miss Claudine Hargrove. If you all please stay tuned for the last few moments of the show. There will be some information, more pictures of the family. So I would like for us to please take a moment of silence for her. And to everyone, God bless, and thank you for watching.